world, getting some insider info there from across with the books or also with through Twitter with Zach Jones. Not going to be like that today. This is going to have the feel of the right side of campus closing edition. Let me bring in my co-host today, the big on campus, Jeff Nadu. Jeff, how's it going, brother?
Good, Donnie. Thanks for having me. As always, good to join you on the closing line.
Yeah, had a good time here. We wrapped up obviously a little bit earlier in the day, going over the right side of campus, going over today's action, looking at some college football games, looking back at the NFL over the weekend and how everything was in that respect. But today, Jeff, there's Major League Baseball on the card. There's a full slate. We got to bring some winners to the people out there. How about it?
That's great. Let's do it.
You got it, man. All right. Let's by the way, before we even dip into that, I know we have some time today. We're short a segment, which is good. It's going to give me and the big man a little more airtime today. Just to wrap up again last night, Jeff, on the two NFL games, what we saw out of those wagers. Two teams in flux, New Orleans and the Los Angeles Chargers last night. Two teams that look probably able to win their division or at least hang around in the division with the Denver Broncos and the Minnesota Vikings. Jeff, what did you take out of those games last night that maybe you can apply over the next couple weeks for you there?
Yeah, I took that. I don't think the Saints are a very good football team, to be honest. I think they have the same old problems on the defensive side, and they have a lack of weapons on offense, Donnie. I mean, this isn't the normal Saints team that runs up and down the field, is going to score 35 points a game. Still have a great quarterback. The run game has some questionable issues as always, and your starting and best receiver is Michael Thomas. So overall, they have some problems, if you ask me. And I know it's a great defense you were facing last night, but you had problems in the red zone, something that you did well with last year. I think overall they're going to have some trouble this year on both sides of the football. I took away also that Denver, if they could just get not Alex Smith, Trevor Siemian to be a game manager, I think they're going to be pretty good as well. Great defense there. Definitely some good skill position players. But the big thing for me is I just don't think the Saints are a very good football team, to be honest.
Yeah, and I mean, rolling it right over, Jeff. You had a doubleheader Monday night last night. We're going to have Thursday night football right back at it. One college game also Thursday night, and right back into a full slate. You have 3 games of college football on Friday, dipping right into Saturday. You'll be on with Pete once again at 11 a.m. Eastern time with the closing line college football edition. A lot of fun. The reason why I like Jeff on this show as well is we're going to take a peek into college football as it pertains to a couple games this weekend. Jeff sent me a 5-pack earlier. We're going to take a look and break down some of those games here, some line movements, maybe something that you can digest even before getting to the weekend, maybe get ahead of a line and get some information, some tips that can certainly help you out. But Jeff, we're going to get right into the Major League Baseball card. We're going to zip right down by rotation. Everybody into the chat box. Any questions here with the baseball games tonight? Let us know. Some lineups. So we're going to dip right in and see if we can pick off some information. Obviously, that's going to be help you guys. The closing line tonight. 9:51, 9:2, Atlanta and Washington. Julio Teheran Gonzalez. Looks like about 3,500 tickets, Jeff, have been tracked today. And 1% of the money line ticket wagers. Home team here, the Washington Nationals, lined up at 173. Pinnacle now showing a 165. Chris 174. 5 dimes 65. Interesting one in this, Jeff. Get an Atlanta team that's out of the playoffs, just playing, so to speak, at this point. But now, all of a sudden, the Washington Nationals are on the Los Angeles Dodgers with a shot at top seed. You think that maybe a bit into this wager tonight, Jeff?
Yeah, it might. I will say this. Both these teams are playing pretty well. Atlanta's been very good against lefties all year, but you look at Gio Gonzalez still having great success all year. He's been really impressive this year for the Nationals. But I do concern myself a little bit with the fact that Teheran's been very good on the road this year. House of Horrors has been at home for him. And look, I mean, Gio's had a little trouble in his career against Atlanta. This is a tough one. I mean, you mentioned a good point with the Nationals. I mean, still clearly can grab a foothold in the NL with the Dodgers' historic struggles. Yeah, look, I don't lay 174. I'm not someone that's going to bet this game, but if I could, I might look at maybe an over here. Kind of looks outside of the box to me, to be honest. Nationals are obviously very good offensive side, and the Braves can hit lefties and usually hit Gio pretty well. Again, all these games that I'm going to give you, Donnie, are leans. I don't bet baseball after a certain time, but I do still follow it, know what's going on. If I had to bet this gun in my head, I'd go over 8.5.
Yeah, I mean, interesting. You're looking at 8.5. You're right across the board. That hasn't moved too much on that line. Just look at what Gio does at home. He's put up sensational stats. Jeff, he does 28 starts this year with an ERA of 2.50. I mean, we're not even looking at Strasburg, Mad Max on the mound. This is your third starter out there being absolutely dominant throughout the year. Even better at home, Jeff. 13 home starts, a 1.87 ERA. I don't like to go that square late in the year, but sometimes I want to start to apply some football mentality to this, Jeff, saying, hey, we can smell some blood in the water with the Dodgers. Let's steal a couple more games. Atlanta's not a very good baseball team. Fastball pitcher Julio Teheran on the mound. I'm going to lean and take the minus 165 at Pinnacle here with the Washington Nationals tonight. You know I don't like to lay that big of a number, but I'm going to start applying some principles here that I think are going to make sense. Washington needs the victory today. Ace is on the mound. I think their lineup's going to be able to do enough to get the job done. I agree. Maybe 8.5. I don't know if I could see more like a 5-3 type of ball game, maybe 4-2 type ball game. But we'll see what happens there, Jeff. You'll go a little bit on a lean on the total. I'll go with a little bit of lean square, albeit, but I'm going to lean on the Washington Nationals tonight. Welcome everybody else
Donnie,
for tuning into the chat box here. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, one other thing. I mean, I don't think you're wrong taking Washington. I mean, they've won 22 of 27 over Atlanta at home, but you look at the over. I mean, over the last 27 games in this series in Washington, 20 have gone over. 8 of the last 13 have gone over in this series. So, look, I'm going to ride with maybe Gio giving up 3 or 4 runs, maybe the bullpen giving up 1. It just looks kind of outside of the box, and that's what you have to do in September baseball.
Yeah, Jeff, you got some pretty good lineups in there, too. I mean, Ender Inciarte now peaking his average at 307. Albies 282. Freeman 319. Kemp 282. Markakis 282. Kurt Suzuki, backup catcher in there, 15 home runs, 266 average. Johan Camargo there, the young third baseman, a 302 average. And we all know that the Washington Nationals can hit. So, in theory, you're right there because Washington did bolster their bullpen. We do know that, but I still don't trust them as being dominant. It's just a matter of what Gio's going to give you. I've seen time and time again this year, Gio going 7-8 innings, 1-2 earned runs, lower pitch count, taking this game deep in the ball games. We'll see what happens. And if Julio comes out and pitches well tonight, that might bode well for an under. But again, both of these ball clubs can hit the baseball. Got some decent weather here in the Northeast. We'll see what happens. Next up on the docket, Jeff, 9:53, 9:54. We're going to go Miami and Philadelphia. Peters, the young lefty on the mound versus Nick Pivetta. 62% of the money line wagers here currently are going towards the Miami Marlins. Line opened up at Pinnacle at 119, currently staying at 119. Chris opened up at minus 122. You're saying 118 out there. 120 at the Greek, minus 124 at Bovada. Over under this one, Jeff is at a 9. Philadelphia, again, some nice weather here. We do, since the best part about this show, Jeff, is we can get a little bit more in-depth information now that the actual lineups are out. D. Gordon, Stanton, Yelich, Ozuna, and Bour in the lineups with top 5 looking really good for the Miami Marlins. Odubel Herrera is back in the leadoff hole. Galvis, Altair, Hoskins, Williams, and Franco in the lineup today for the Philadelphia Phillies. Look, you have 2 pitchers. Peters does have some good stuff. He's a lefty. You're in a bandbox ballpark, Jeff. Over-under is at 9. I'm going to lean towards the over here. Again, get me 4-4 at one point, and I'm going to have at least push in this ball game. I'll take the over here.
Yeah, I'm gonna build off Peters' outing against Philadelphia in his first outing of the season. Shut him down over 7 innings. Really was fantastic. And you mentioned that lineup. Look, Miami's struggling though. Both these teams suck. So it really, you're just kind of getting pride at this point. But I like what Peters did in his first outing. I don't like Pivetta. I'll bet against him whenever I get a chance. And I clearly like the lineup from Miami better. I'm just kind of building off Peters' success so far. 3 runs over 12 innings. Really doing some good things. And look, I don't really like the Phillies offense against lefties. They do struggle as well. So for me, I'm going to lean with Dylan Peters in Miami, but 2 bad teams. Wouldn't surprise me either, any kind of scenario here.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. I mean, again, you're right. 2 bad teams heading down stretch. Miami, albeit an outside shot. But it seems like everybody but like the Phillies and the San Diego Padres have an outside shot at the playoffs. So theoretically, I don't think they're going to make it. So you're right. Coming down the stretch, we'll see what they have. A lot of young pitchers. And we're looking at 2 bullpens here, Jeff. Not very good. So I'm going to lean on the over 9, even though I do think that line's a little bit short. So think of a little bit higher. Pivetta can get some strikeouts. Peters is a young kid. But again, we're leaning on bullpens here, Jeff. If we're going to look at maybe 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th innings, a good 4 innings of bullpen from both of these guys, I think we can get 4 apiece each side and maybe cover that total. Next up here, Jeff, 9:55, 9:56. Pittsburgh and Milwaukee, it's going to be Cole and Suter on the mound. Almost a 50-50 ticket split here, Jeff. We have 53% backing the road team here. Pittsburgh Pirates total opened up at 8.5, currently sitting at 8.5 across the board. Suter opens up as a slight favorite of minus 113, open now at minus 118. Chris at minus 117. 5 Dimes actually showing at a minus 121, Jeff. We all know my struggles throughout the summer there with the Pittsburgh Pirates. If we're going to take a look at the lineup tonight, I mean, does this instill fear if you're Suter on the mound in the home team, Milwaukee Brewers? Mercer, Luplow, McCutchen, Freese, Osuna, Polanco, Rodriguez, and Cole. A pop gun offense, again, that they're going to run out there. Ever since, Harrison has gone down, also another couple injuries have popped up in the lineup. Good to see Polanco back. How much he's going to give you, not too sure about that. But Milwaukee, steady lineup, Jeff, 1 through 8 tonight. Sogard, Walker, Braun, Shaw, Santana, Thames, Vogt, and Broxton, much better running out there. The line looks a little bit short to me. I'm going to go with Milwaukee here, Jeff. I just think it's a better lineup. I think Suter can keep those bats down. Give me Milwaukee on the short line here at home.
Yeah, under 8.5 for me here. I think it's a pretty good play. The Pirates are dreadful, not only in general, but against lefties, hitting 231 this year. 10 of 12 between these two this year have gone under the total. Cole's been really an under pitcher's whole career. 18 of 28 this year have gone under. Suter's been an under guy as well. I just don't see a lot of offense between these two. Milwaukee strikes out a ton. They're one of the highest rated strikeout teams as far as at the plate. They either hit a home run or they strike out. They're not a great hit for average team. Both these teams struggling right now to score runs, and their pitching's actually been pretty good. For me, I think under 8.5 here looks pretty good.
No, I completely agree with you as well on that one. I mean, if we're looking at Cole and Suter, Cole has the ability to shut it down. You're right. Strikeouts with Milwaukee, always going to be a problem. Suter, the lefty on the mound, I don't see much resistance from that Pittsburgh lineup, so I agree with you. I will lead on both ways on this, going with Milwaukee with the short line as the short home favorite in this one. Even though Cole's a great pitcher, I think they can pull this out. And again, I would lean towards the under as well. No surprise if this game ends up somewhere around 4-3, 4-2 in that type of game. So I do agree with you on that, big man. Good call on that under. Next up, 957, 958. Robert Gsellman is going to be on the mound versus Jose Quintana. 3,300 tickets have been tracked in this one. Jeff, 66% leading on the home team. Chicago Cubs here. Minus 250 it opens up as. And Jeff, you want to talk about some steam getting steamed up north. Minus 325 currently at Pinnacle. Minus 335 at Chris. Minus 325 at Five Dimes. A ridiculous line. And to be honest with you, Jeff, looking at the Mets, since they got rid of Bruce, Walker, Cespedes has been out, Conforto's been out, I actually think the lineup's a better hitting lineup overall from what they were before during the season. I mean, you're asking me in this game, do I think that the Mets can go in and win? I'm not so sure, but why not take a flyer? Plus 292 with the Cubs? Come on, man. Give me the Mets.
Yeah. I'm going to go over. I like over here. 81 and 51 of the over for the Mets this year. You made a good point. I mean, they're a team that has gotten better seemingly since they unloaded all those big players. Problem for me, Donnie, here is as a road dog, a big road underdog, they haven't won this year. At plus 250, I think it's plus 175 or higher. They're 0-8 this year as a dog, which I feel like they should be an over or underdog of that a little bit more. But overall, I'm going over. I think they can hit Quintana. Quintana's been a little inconsistent, and Gsellman, we've faded him all year. I think this line's a little too low. Personally, I think the Mets are overall been a better team on the road offensively. They're hitting 262, scoring 5 runs a game. For me, the way they're hitting right now, I think this over-under is a little low. As far as weather in Chicago, I don't know what it is. I didn't even look at it. But I just think this number's a little shy.
It can't be too bad, Jeff. If Five Dimes is at an 8 on that, it can't be too bad. The weather probably maybe even blowing in at this point. So you're right. Go ahead.
And I mean, Quintana's just been. I mean, he's average. I mean, he's nothing special. And Gsellman, we know. I mean, 12 of his 17 starts have gone over this year. I think 8's a little too. People are reading way too much into that fact that the Mets unloaded everyone, when in turn they've actually been pretty good. And look, Donnie, I mean, the Cubs aren't playing well right now, so I don't hate your play there, but I think the over 8 is just a better play.
Yeah, I mean, I'll lean on that huge ticket there because, as I said, coming down the stretch, if we look at Gsellman, I mean, Jeff, we faded him a lot earlier in the season, but just looking up at his last, 4 to 5 starts there, 5 1/3, 2 earned runs, 6 1/3, 1 earned run, 4 innings, 2 earned runs, 6 innings, 2 earned runs. If he can keep it in that range, maybe you can steal one of these games where the Cubs aren't going to be able to hit and Quintana gets lit up early, maybe get like that 3-1 lead, see if he can hold on and hold straight. I know it's hard to hit a ticket that big, but I'm not that big of a believer in Quintana. I mean, usually when you see these lines, Jeff, even though they're going against a, somewhat double A, if you want to say, lineup from the New York Mets, I mean, these numbers are reserved for like Clayton Kershaw, top end Max Scherzer. I mean, this is Quintana on the mound we're talking about, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not really sure why you would lay this number. Honestly, it doesn't make any plausible sense. I mean, they're not playing well right now. Quintana
it's almost steamed up $1, Jeff.
Yeah, I think the Mets are. You're making me more and more interested in betting on the Mets here, Donnie Rightside. Which, as you know, I'm not betting a lot of baseball right now, but
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an odd price. This doesn't make much sense to me at all. Like I could understand like, and I'll get into why you shouldn't lay the crazy price ever, but why you shouldn't lay it with Kluber today. But yeah, Quintana has an ERA, Donnie, of over 4 at home this year,
Mhm.
an ERA of 5. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm good. Good luck with laying 350 on this game.
I mean, Jeff, I was just saying it while you were talking there. Pinnacle opens up at 250, and right there you're going, damn, that's a high number. And now it's sitting at 325. So I mean, I guess hey,
Yeah.
public and sharps are coming together. There's a lot of value in that game. If you could win it easily, isn't it value? Well, I just don't believe to lay that line. And again, if the game ends up 9-1, the Cubs, and you say, hey, you know what, it was an easy steamroller victory. I get it, but no way I'm laying that much. Got to give a pick out on one of these sides here. I'll lean on the New York Mets are getting that huge plus 292 investment back on that. Keep it moving down the line, Jeff. 959, 960, Cincinnati, St. Louis. Stevenson and Lynn on the mound. About 3,800 tickets have been tracked in this one. 70% leaning on the home team here, Jeff. The St. Louis Cardinals opened up at minus 171. Backtracked a little bit to 160. Looks like Chris is at 163. 5 dimes at 160. Over-under opened up at 8.5. Looks to be staying strong at 8.5 across the board. These guys, Stevenson and Lynn, last couple outings have been good. Last 3 starts for Stevenson, a 2.55 ERA. For Lynn, a 1.29 ERA. The one thing that makes it hard for me to trust Stevenson is a young kid on the road. Walks sometimes come up and be an issue. I would lean on St. Louis winning this game. And again, you're not looking at over 200. I typically like to take a lot of underdogs. I took one there with the Mets, but I just think Lance Lynn is the more competent pitcher in this ball game. I'll lean, even though it's a big number of minus 160 at Pinnacle, I'll lean on St. Louis here tonight.
Yeah, I got nothing on this game. I hate the Cardinals. Can't stand this team. It's a pass for me, Donnie.
No, I hear you. I mean, you're grinding down on stuff. Does Cincinnati want to come out to play? If we take a look at some lineups in this, Jeff, maybe to pique your interest, always interested in Jesse Winker starting in the leadoff spot. Obviously, Billy Hamilton, I believe it's a fractured finger or a fractured thumb. Cozart, Votto, Jeanette, Suarez, Shebler, Duvall, and Stuart Turner, the catcher. So a decent hitting lineup out there. Matt Carpenter, as always, going to start there in the leadoff hole for the St. Louis Cardinals. Pham, DeJong, Martinez, Molina, Wong, Bader, Grichuk. So a decent lineup in for the St. Louis Cardinals. I'll lean on them tonight to get the victory, trying to play it by the vest down the stretch. Next up here, Jeff, Colorado. Yeah, what's up, man?
Dolly Castro could tongue my balls if I had to bet on this game, and I'd tell her no, I'll pass. I have no
Who
interest
the
in
hell is
betting on
Dolly
this one.
Castro? Is that
One
one
of
of
my
your
favorite
haters, Jeff?
models,
Dolly
pal.
Castro?
No, she's one of my favorite models, pal. She could offer me a
So you don't want to
blowjob.
watch? You wouldn't even.
If
What if you watch this game?
no, she basically saying to me, "Hey, listen, I'll give you a blowjob if you bet on this game." I'd have to pass. I have zero interest in betting on this game ever.
Next up, 961, 962, Colorado and Arizona. Gray and Walker. Only 2,600 tickets have been tracked in this one, Jeff. The lowest bet game so far of the day. 59% are backing Taijuan Walker as the home team here. Opened up at minus 131. Down a little bit to minus 125. Chris at minus 127. Also 5 dimes at minus 127. Last three outings, I should say, for Taijuan Walker, Jeff. 1.04 ERA. Gray equaling him also at 2.12. So maybe we see some more of a defensive struggle here, Jeff, than offensive, even though it tends to pop off being out there in the desert in Arizona. But Colorado, the road team, we know not the same hitting lineup as typically showing at Coors Field in that altitude. 9.5 it opened up to, Jeff. How about this, Jeff? Dips back to 9, and I agree with that move. If we're looking at both sides of this game, Walker a slight favorite here. Give me Arizona at home as the slight favorite at minus 125. And I'm going to lean on that line movement, Jeff, and take the under in this game. I think both of these guys can hold each other down a little bit, maybe end up in that 4-3, 5-4 type game, worst case scenario. I'm going to take the under here, and I'm going to lean on the home team, Arizona Diamondbacks here.
Yeah, it's hard to take an under with these two teams, but right now, it looks like the play. John Gray's been pretty good lately. We know Colorado has a little bit of a problem sometimes hitting on the road consistently. Arizona, Taijuan Walker, it's how long do you trust Taijuan Walker to pitch this well? But he's done it against good teams. Shut down Colorado, shut down the Dodgers. So he's done some good things lately. 11 of 4 or 10 of 14 in this series have gone under. They just seemingly played low this year. I agree with the move. I agree with you. I'll look under here.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that. Again, you're looking at two lineups where it's just saying, oh my goodness, and we'd all know Major League Baseball, Jeff. Same thing at the pros. it's just not built for the under. It's so because it can just turn on the dime. You can have a 1-0 game in the seventh inning, 2 errors. Next, you know, 5 runs are across the board. So we'll root on the under in this one, as crazy as it might seem. Next up on the docket, Jeff, 963, 964. The LA Dodgers 1-16 in their last 17, sending their ace out to be a stopper tonight. Johnny Cueto's going to be on the mound here for the San Francisco Giants. 4,500 tickets tracked. 60-40 betting split, 60% going towards the road team here with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Opened up at minus 245 as a road favorite, now sitting at minus 255 at Pinnacle. Chris, Jeff, just posted a number of minus 270 here for Kershaw. Is tonight the night, Jeff, where they stop the bleeding? Or, I mean, Jeff, not going to lie, if Kershaw loses tonight, this might be a serious free fall right out of the playoffs, because where does the bleeding stop if you can't get it from your actual ace?
Yeah, and getting it from your ace that has absolutely dominated the opponent over his career. I mean, you look at the numbers: 38 starts, a 1.59 ERA against the Giants. I mean, just unbelievable. But Giants have won 21 of 28 in Dodgerland against San Francisco, or in San Francisco against the Dodgers. So they're up 19 units if you back them over the last couple years. They kind of have the Dodgers number. But you're right. Here's the problem with this number. Who wants to lay this kind of number with a team like this? They're just looking to win at this point any way possible. I'm not really keen on laying a run line here on the road, but it's hard to think that they won't stop. I think they will stop the bleeding tonight. You can mark my words. I think the Dodgers will win tonight. Do I want to lay that price? No. Don't want to lay a run line? No, because I think they're just looking to get a win at this point. But Kershaw has been absolutely fantastic in his career against the Giants. So for me, I think they'll win, but I don't lay prices like that.
Yeah, late game last night, rain delays. You know, again, San Francisco pulls out the victory. We're going to take a look to see if that has any ill effect or what that starting lineup is going to be. Is Buster Posey going to sit this one out? We'll take a look at some lineups in a little bit. But again, you have some time. 10:15 Eastern at time start, 7:15 at Pacific. Again, only about 4,500 tickets tracked. Just a high number, Jeff. And I'll go with the over in this one again. It's 6.5. If we can get 3 apiece in this game, you got the over. I'll lean on that again. As we say, Jeff, on the right side of campus, hey, man, one swing and a bat, we can get that one over the total.
Yeah, I got a weird feeling Kershaw shuts them the fuck down tonight, to be honest. But I think this is like 4-1 for some reason. But hey, you're not wrong with that. I mean, a grand slam, you're in business with this one. So we'll see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hey.
Kershaw should win, but who knows?
No, definitely. Folks, you're just tuning into the closing line September 12th. Just going over the Major League Baseball card, getting you ready, maybe picking out some games that might pique your interest in here. Welcome into the chat box. Let us know if you have any questions about any one of these Major League Baseball games. Big Man on Campus is my guest today on the show. We're going to be talking a little bit of college football. We got a 5-pack coming up of some games you might want to take a look at, and Big Man's going to pique your interest to see if we can maybe sway your opinion and maybe get you ahead of the line here and see if we can win you some money this weekend, Jeff. Let's keep it moving in Major League Baseball. 965, 966, Baltimore and Toronto. We're going to go with Bundy and Biagini on the mound. 3,900 tickets have been tracked, 69% backing the road team here, Baltimore. Yesterday on the show, Jeff, I told you should have been on Toronto. They put out a nice little doggy winner over Ubaldo Jimenez and the visiting Baltimore Orioles in this game. Jeff opened up at minus 124, the favorite for Bundy, down to minus 120 at Pinnacle, minus 127 at Chris, minus 120 at 5 times. So not too much line movement despite a lot of public support going on Baltimore. If we take a look at the pitching matchup here, Biagini's been bad, Jeff, at home this year. 6.48, last 3 cumulative starts, a 6.43 ERA. Bullpens, you know, probably would give the lean towards Baltimore. I'm not a big fan of the Toronto bullpen. Whenever these two teams get together, Jeff, I still like the lean on the over. If we take a look, Pinnacle's at 9. Jeff, 5 times is showing an 8.5 in a Baltimore Orioles game. Just out of principle, I'm going over the total, man.
Yeah, I kind of disagree with you, to be honest. Baltimore's been a mess on the road, dude. I mean, they're just not very good on the road. 27 and 43. They're not hitting right now, only hitting 193 over the last week or so. I think the perfect look at this game would be like you said. Well, you're getting Baltimore. That's only 8.5. Why is the line went down a full run, Donnie? I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me here. I mean, that's sharp money betting on the under here. Now, your guess is as good as mine on who the hell the sharps are that are doing that. But yeah, look, I think Bundy is the capable starter for Baltimore. If I'm going to pick anyone, I want him. I'm not big into Biagini. That's kind of my problem. But you look at Biagini, 10 of his 14 starts have gone under. So, I mean, that's kind of nice as well. Again, this is a tough one. I kind of like the line movement, though. I kind of want to bet under here, but who knows? I mean, with the bullpen with Toronto, with the big bats that, I mean, Manny Machado could hit a big grand slam, and this one's going to be tough. But I kind of want to lean under here.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I'm going to lean over. So we'll go a little bit of head to head on that one. I'm just doing it out of principle. And again, in September, Jeff, to me, sharp money in baseball, it's not that you agree or disagree with it. I just don't think there technically is sharp money what's sharp about it? You know what I mean? Like, how do you even know who's playing? What team cares? What team doesn't? So this is one of those times where I like to take a step back and try to see if I can find some value out there, which I know you agree with on it as well, because most people, it's not because football season started. Can you imagine, Jeff, if football season hit December and you were able to expand your rosters, 15 more players, and teams are just trying out quarterbacks down the stretch? It would be all mayhem. So, I mean, you have to just,
it would be crazy.
Try to balance it out and see what we can get. Yeah, interesting stuff.
Yeah, I will say
Next
this,
up
though,
here,
Donnie.
Jeff.
I mean,
Yeah,
both. Yeah, no, I just want to point out both these teams lately have really been fantastic at pitching wise. I mean, neither team giving up a lot of runs. The averages are low for opponents. I don't know. It's a tough one, but you're right. I mean, the sharp angle here is, what is the sharp angle? I mean, what are you really sharp on? So you make a good point there.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Coming up on the next one, another interesting game to say the least. 967, 968. The New York Yankees with Sonny Gray on the mound tonight. It's playing in New York, but at Citi Field. And yeah, folks, it ain't against the Mets. It's against the Tampa Bay Rays. The quote-unquote home team. Snell's going to be on the mound, the lefty. About 5,000 tickets have been tracked in this one, Jeff. 80% of the public backing the, I guess you could say, road team, New York Yankees in this one. Opened up at minus 143, backtracked to minus 135. Chris at minus 138, 5 dimes at 137. Jeff, if we were looking at this game, me and you, maybe July 17th, somewhere in that range, I would be all over the Tampa Bay Rays with that line movement. Not a lot of public support in this one. Yankees won yesterday. But again, I don't know who's sharp and who's not sharp in September. If you're breaking this game down, give me the Yankees. They're just overall the better team. Sonny Gray's on the mound, better bullpen. I'm not that big of a fan of Snell on the mound. I know he's a lefty, maybe give the Yankees a little bit of trouble, but I'm going to lean on the Yankees here at a cheap price. Don't care that 80% of the public's on this, because I think the public's right here, Jeff.
Yeah, this is just a tough spot for Tampa Bay. I mean, there's no fans in the stadium for them. They're basically playing a home game, which should be their home game, but it's a Yankee home game. It's just a tough spot. I mean, unfortunately, that's how the weather goes sometimes. Tampa Bay is obviously kind of fell out of it. They're a team that, really, and I think you're right. In the middle of July, this would probably be a Tampa Bay line. But overall, Sonny Gray's been very good for the Yankees. They've hit lefties pretty good all year. They're murdering the ball right now. Judge is continuing to start to hit more home runs. Yeah, I'm not a big Snell guy either. He's just never really matriculated into much of a starter. Who knows if that will change? But yeah, overall, I think this is one of the better plays on the board. Yankees have won 9 of 14 this year against Tampa Bay. This is just a tough spot for the Rays. It's a shame.
Hey, yeah, by the way, Jeff, looking at that game last night, I didn't watch much Major League Baseball. Was there little crowd? I mean, was there even anybody at the game at Citi Field? Any Yankees fans? Did they have I'm sure they probably let people in for free. Did you see any highlights in that one or no?
With what, the Yanks?
Yeah, the Yankees game last night, playing at Citi Field with, was a crowd there? I mean, I didn't see any highlights of the game at all.
No, there were about 15,000 fans there, most of which were Yankee fans. So,
yeah, sure.
It's kind of like the Subway Series, you know what I mean? Yeah, I'll take it. I mean, it's pretty much a home game, so we'll work with it.
You got it. We're going to go over 2 more baseball games here before we shift over to a little bit of focus of this weekend's NCAA football action, Jeff. Let's go over 969, 970. Oakland and Boston. Minea Rodriguez, about 4,000 tickets have been tracked in this one. 71% of those tickets, Jeff, coming on the home squad. Boston Red Sox, minus 168. Pinnacle opens up at minus 170. Chris at minus 160. Minus 167, minus 169 for 5 dimes. I'm got to be honest with you, Jeff. It's kind of interesting. I mean, we all know Oakland struggles on the road. Boston fighting for a division crown. To me, this line looks a little bit short. A lot of public support on Boston, as you would think. But something tells me, Oakland might be a player in this ball game. If we look at the last couple starts with Rodriguez, it's a 6 ERA. Minea, 2.55 over his last 3. He's a live arm. Boston, not a great hitting ball club. Maybe you want to take a chunk of Oakland here. That line's talking to me, even though, again, it's September. But looking at this number, typically that Boston line should be around 2-1. I'm going to lean Oakland in this situation here.
Yeah, I don't have much on this one. I'll let you have fun with it. But Oakland is a wretched road team, which we know.
Yeah.
Manet is not a guy I really want to back. Boston, obviously, in the middle of meaningful games here. Yeah, I hear you what you're saying, but Oakland is Oakland, and they're bad on the road. At home, they're kind of a sneaky team, late game or whatever. But Manet is not a guy that I think is gonna, kind of put a lot of, fear into the opponent. For me, I'm staying away just because Oakland's a wretched road team.
Jeff, we're not going to cap this next game coming up, but I did want to just bring it up just for the fun of it. 971, 972, Boyd versus Kluber, 61% of the money. Jeff, the money line tickets, not spread, not parlay tickets. The money line tickets are laying 465 at Chris right now. I don't know what you get out of it. I mean, they're going for their 20th straight win, which is awesome. What a feat. But I don't understand why 61% of money line wagers would be coming in on a 465, laying 465 to win 100. Talk to me, big man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of the highest lines I've seen in a long time in baseball. Usually you see it with Kershaw or somebody like that, Scherzer
Mm-hmm.
or whoever. I don't even know if you ever see it even with Scherzer,
No,
but
yeah.
I
When
mean,
do you
look,
ever see something? I mean, 460?
they've won 19 in a row, and I do want to shout out the Cleveland Indians too. They've been kind of a Jekyll and Hyde team for me this year. They, early on had a major problem with runners in scoring position, but they've cleaned it up, and they're on a historic win streak right now, and it's good because I have a ticket for them future-wise to win the World
You
Series.
do?
Look, Donnie, here's why you have to be absolutely mental to lay this number. If you look at the run line here, you basically it's more than half the price. Okay, in 19 wins that they've had here, 16 have come by two or more runs. It doesn't make a lot of sense to lay the money line here. If you're going to lay this, why have that, exposure here? I mean, Boyd sucks. I've made that clear. I can't stand Boyd. Their bullpen's a mess. Their lineup is a shell of what it once was. It, I guess these are a lot of bridge jumpers laying this number. They look at it as an easy way to make a quick profit, but there's a lot of things in baseball that can happen. To your big money line play. I mean, Kluber could pitch great here and go 8 innings, but it's a 3-2 game, and Cody Allen comes in and gives up a double and a single, and you're kind of worried now. Overall, you got to limit your risk here. If you want to lay it, lay the run line. No real reasoning to lay 465. They cover the run line. Why lay the 465?
And I haven't looked at any of the numbers the opposite side, but can you get Detroit like plus 3.5 at even money? I mean, how many runs can you buy with a minus 465? I've never seen it
Yeah,
before. I mean, you could
I would
legitimately,
say
can you get 2.5 at plus 100?
no, plus 2.5 is probably about 130, I would think. Minus 130, which is pretty much unheard of. I'm actually going to look that up for you, Donnie, and kind of see
Yeah,
where you're
good.
at with it.
Yeah.
I mean, on some of the books here, you can obviously adjust the line. For instance, 5 times you can move the line. You can get 2.5 at minus 120 here at 5 times. So Cleveland minus 2.5 at 120. They're actually at 430, so they got a little bit better of a price. But yeah, it's pretty unbelievable, isn't it? The first five is actually at 480, so minus a half a runs at 255. So it's it.
Jeez,
So
man.
I mean,
Like, don't you
let's
just
say
take
this
the
is
plus
one.
half run? Man,
I, yeah, I mean, you're kind of helping yourself if it's a tie or something, but there's just,
yeah.
I mean, it's just something you kind of laugh at. You say, you know what? Good luck. But I feel like if you're going to lay the 465, why not just lay the run line? I mean, they've covered 16 of 19 by two or more. The run differential is just unbelievable during this. I think it's over 100 plus 100 over their last 19 games. Just a crazy run differential. Yeah, it's an amazing number. I've heard some books in Vegas had it at 1 to 5 to open the day. So
That's
crazy,
unreal.
isn't
Like,
it?
Miggy's back in the lineup tonight. Ian Kinsler's going to be in Presley. So I know they traded a lot of pieces away, but this is probably their de facto A lineup in there. So, and it's not like you're seeing a guy for the first time. I mean, this is a division rivalry game. I mean, they know each other. I know Kluber's good. I know they're going for 20 in a row, but just an outlandish line. I do like to take a chuckle out, Jeff. One
But I
more game we're going
think
to get to, and go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think also though, I mean, if you bet the Tigers here, you might as well burn your ticket. I don't see it hitting, but again, if you want to bet on the Tigers and Matt Boyd, be my guest. I don't really see the reason on doing that either.
No, if by your theory and looking at this number, Cleveland is supposed to put them away. So I know the over-under is 8. I mean, I can see Detroit getting 2 to 3 runs and Boyd getting lit up. Why don't I'll take a flyer on the over 8 here. Give me a 7 to 2 final, an 8 to 2 final, a 9 to 2 final. You can see that if they're going to be a really victor in this game. I honestly, Jeff, this game like a 3 to 1 game. Either it's going to be high scoring and Kluber gets knocked around, or I think Cleveland just runs away with the ball game. I'm going to go over the 8.
But Donnie,
got it that one.
Here's what I don't get about this. So if you bet this game, you're obviously thinking this is going to be what, 7-2, right? I mean, you don't think there's going to be any reason.
One game by class, correct.
Why not just lay the 2.5 runs at basically even money, 120? I mean, if you lose, you lose. I mean, are you going to be upset if you lose a 2.5 that many idiots are laying 480 on? I mean, really?
Or you're going to sit there and stress like you're going to lay money line? Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, this is stupid. I mean, the only people laying this kind of number are parlayers or guys that have a lot of money that it doesn't matter if they lose. So
yeah, just I'm going to take this ticket just to be funny. Let me lay down a couple grand to win back a few $100, which is ridiculous. Last game on the card, we're going to cap today, Jeff. 977, 978. You false flag lovers out there, which I am. This is one of those games you're going to want to take a look at. Yeah. 66% of the money line ticket wagers going on the Houston Astros over the Los Angeles Angels. It's going to be Verlander and Richards on the mound. Opened up, Jeff, -129. Now sitting at Pinnacle at -109. Chris at -113. 5 Dimes, 115. Sportsbook.com, 113. If you take a look at the numbers, you say, oh boy, Richards, he's a really good pitcher. I remember him from last year. He only had 1 start back, Jeff. He goes 3 1/3 innings, so obviously on a pitch count, 1 earned run. And Verlander hasn't been that bad over the past couple starts. I mean, if you take a look, 6 innings, 1 earned run versus Seattle. At Colorado, 6 innings, 1 earned run. At the Chicago White Sox, 7 innings, 2 earned runs. So it's not like this guy's scared. I mean, his last 3 games were all on the road, Jeff, in different environments, and dominated each one of those. And that line is pulling back in reverse despite heavy public support going on the Houston Astros. Man, I don't know, man. Again, if this was, we're talking again, June, July, stone cold Angels line. But I don't believe it right now. Go ahead.
I agree with you. I think you and I talked about this on the show earlier. It was around like 125, and I said to you, "Why is this line going backwards?" I mean, feels like the public would love Verlander here. This line should be up to the 140s at this point, but now it's down to 113. Look, Richards hasn't pitched in Angel Stadium since 2016 in April, so it's been a long time. He also has limited numbers against Houston, but you look at Altuve, 321, Reddick, 381, 333 for Cray, and a couple bats. Yeah, this is a tough one, man. I mean, I kind of want to lean over here at 8. I think 8's a little low. I could see them getting to Verlander a little bit. This one stinks to me. I'm going to stay away, but you're right. If this was June, I would be all over the Angels here, but I could see Richards getting roped here. I mean, these teams kind of turn it up late. And, most people aren't betting baseball anyway, so it really doesn't hurt the books too much. So, yeah, I'll go over 8.
I completely agree with you. If you take a look at the situation as well with Richards, he's obviously going to be on a pitch count. Let's just say he does go 5 innings and he's sensational. It doesn't matter. They're going to pull him right out of the game, and you're going to get into the bullpen. I like the Angels' bullpen a little bit, but I want the starter, if he's pitching really well, to continue to pitch down the line. I look for Houston in this situation. It's a great false flag if it was earlier in the season, but again, sharp money to me doesn't make much sense in Major League Baseball heading down the stretch. I'll just take the Houston Astros as a flyer here. I think Verlander can go 6-7 innings and not get blown up. I think Richards will be out good or bad early, and you get to eat on that bullpen a little bit. And we've seen magic all season long, Jeff, with the Houston Astros getting after your bullpen. I think they possibly can do it again tonight here.
I hear you. Agreed.
All right. Hey, man, let's shift over, Jeff. Major League Baseball card there. We're going to come back in a little bit, give our final notes, maybe catching up on some steam in baseball, maybe some late, lineups that came out. But now we're going to shift the focus here to the college football edition of the show here with the closing line September 12th. Jeff, let's go over some games here. You gave me a 5 spot that we're going to talk about. I believe we're going to start on Thursday night. This is going to be rotation 103-104, New Mexico and Boise State. 50-50 money line ticket split in this one, which is always interesting. Pinnacle opened up at 15.5, currently sitting at 14.5. Chris at 15.5, 5 Dimes at 14.5. Jeff, I mean, we talk about it a while. New Mexico last year, the year before, we talked about on the right side of campus today. This isn't Boise State where we're going to run you over and beat the hell out of you. A little bit in flux, maybe a quarterback injury they're going to have to keep an eye on. I think 2 touchdowns might be a little bit much in this one. What do you think?
Yeah, especially off of a loss. Both these teams are off losses, both of which were tough losses as well, including Boise, who really kind of shit the bed against Washington State up in Wazoo. This is a tough one just because is Brett Rippon going to play or not? If Brett Rippon plays, I really don't want to bet New Mexico. But for me, I feel like I don't think he's going to play. He looked to be out of it after the game. I thought maybe he had a concussion or something. But I'm going to keep abreast of the situation here. At this number, 15 and a half, 16, I'm going to lean on the run game for New Mexico. I think they're a team that will kind of come to play after last week. The question is, though, for New Mexico, is Lamar Jordan the quarterback? He was benched last week for a freshman, Tavaka Chuiitu, who came in and played pretty
Mm.
well. But overall, the big question for New Mexico is, can they get stops defensively? This could be one of the situations where Boise State pissed off. They're at home, and they really take it to a bad defense in New Mexico. I said before the season I liked New Mexico. I think they were a team that maybe could compete in games like this. Both teams off a loss with the question marks around Rippon. If Cozart starts, I like New Mexico. If Rippon plays, I'm not as into it.
No, I hear you. No, I just think it's too many points. I mean, Boise State, we've seen, I mean, no longer that super crusher team that just mows up and down the field. Clearly a put together football team that can just, move you off the field, the blue turf up there. I think that stigma is all gone there, Jeff. I think it's too many points for me as well. Let's keep it moving here. We'll go to some Saturday action, Jeff, a 4-pack here. And we're going to get to some military schools right up your alley here. 119, 120, Air Force versus Michigan. An interesting matchup here. Very light betting on this one. Spread ticket count 55% right now going towards Air Force. Line opened up at 26. Now sitting at 24 at Pinnacle, 24 at Chris, 24 at 5 dimes. Over under, Jeff, opened up at 53.5. Currently sitting roughly across the board, so not much movement in that fashion. Air Force going into Michigan. Interesting here. Give me some of the things that we can look forward to.
Yeah, I wasn't really a military guy last week. I struck out on both my military plays. But you know what? I think the big question is, can Michigan cover big numbers? Can they cover a big number like this? Wilton Spate's not a guy that's going to throw the ball up and down the field. He's a game manager. That's what he's going to do. And my question mark for this one is, Air Force had a week to prepare here. They were off last week after their VMI destruction. They beat VMI 62-0, held them to 95 yards. They had a week to prepare here. Going to go into the big house, but Spates only got a 52% completion percentage. I am a little concerned about the run defense for Michigan. I think they're really going to try to bottle up Air Force, but we all know, Donnie, the option's a little bit tougher to stop than you might think. Michigan off of a week where they don't have much time to prepare for it. And the big thing that I like about Air Force here is they've covered 6 in a row as a road underdog of 21 or more, and they've also covered 6 of 8 overall as a dog. I think they're going to chew some clock up here. I just don't know if Michigan's equipped to win by 24 or more points. I think they're a team that's really going to win a lot of slobber knocker games this year, maybe get the occasional big win against a patsy, but I don't know that Air Force is a patsy. They're a strong football team with a good running game that doesn't make a lot of mistakes. For me, I'll lean with the points here, getting 24. I just don't think they're equipped, Michigan, to cover big numbers.
That's a fun game, man. It's a great matchup. And Air Force, no pushover, man. We've seen the emergence of these schools, Army, Navy, Air Force over the years. No longer do you just schedule them and say, hey, we're doing a good thing. We're going to schedule a military academy. We'll get all the pageantry, then we'll beat them up on the field. That's no longer the case in all three of those scenarios. So that game should be a lot of fun to dip into, Jeff. Next up here, let's take a look at a bad football team. 151, 152, Virginia Tech going on the road to take on the East Carolina Pirates, who have seen their better days. 84% of the spread wagers currently coming in on Virginia Tech. Line opened up at 22, but seen a dip back to 21 at Chris, 21 at Pinnacle, 21 and a half at Sportsbook. Over under this one, Jeff, sitting around 60 to 59 to 59 and a half, depending on where you're at. Do you see a runaway victory here, Virginia Tech on the East Carolina go up a little bit at home? We're not just going to get run over here. This is an interesting one, man.
No, I think you're going to see East Carolina get run over a lot this year. I don't think it's really their decision on if they want to get run over. They're just going to get run over. That's what they do. To me, East Carolina, I didn't think would win more than a game or two this year. You might not see them win a game at all. They're a really poor team. Their quarterback, Thomas Sirk's been injured. He's been in and out of the lineup. They're just really poor. I mean, they got run out of the building against West Virginia. And with for me with West Virginia, the big question is they were off last week. Well, they weren't off. They played Delaware, which is basically they were off last week because the starters really didn't go deep in that game. Ended up winning 27-0. It wasn't a big win or anything, but they did the job. They got the job done. And I just think Eastern Carolina is just kind of out of it. They're lost. They've really just been slapped in the face, basically. And basically, at East Carolina, I just don't really see them competing in many games this year. I think this is a Virginia Tech team that really just kind of driven, especially after that big win against WVU week 1. I think they're going to be a team in the ACC definitely to kind of worry about. And look, I mean, they just continue to play well defensively for so many years under Bud Foster. I don't think East Carolina is going to do much in this game as far as offensively. They had their chance last week to score some points against West Virginia, but now you go and play a West Virginia Tech team that's really kind of, I think, going to shut them down. You got Cam Phillips, Trayvon McMillan on offense. I think they run away with this game and cover a pretty decent number. I think they win like 45-14, something like that. East Carolina, it's going to be a long year for the Pirates.
Yeah, Bud Foster's going to be bringing the heat in that game. 201-202, Jeff. Texas USC rematch of the championship game. What was that? Maybe 10 years ago at this point? Maybe even a little farther back than that? 2006. 66% backing the home team here, USC. No respect for Texas here, Jeff. Odds makers open up at 15.5. Chris is sitting at 15. 5 dimes at 15. Sportsbook.com at 15.5. We've watched USC very impressive versus Stanford. Took them a while to get going versus Western Michigan. What do we expect out of Texas going on the road here? A little bit of disrespect getting that many points? Or is that where the line should be?
Yeah, I think this slap in the face to Texas. And isn't this why you brought Tom Herman in? To play games and win games and compete in games like this? This is what you brought him in for. Not to play against Kansas or Maryland. This is why you brought him in. You had that shit game in week 1. You put it by them in week 2. Big question here is if Shane Buechele will play. And Donnie, if he even is healthy, are they going to go to him? Sam Ellinger played really well in that game against San Jose. And by the way, for all you people out there that say, well, it was just San Jose State. San Jose State has a very good pass defense. That's about the only thing they do well. Ellinger had a great game. Ellinger is Texas through and through. Okay, he went to Westlake High School. He's a Texas kid. You could see him making the Longhorn salute when he was a baby. He's Texas. That's what he is. I just think with this game, people are down on Texas. No one wants to back them. Big win last week from USC. Everyone's all about them all of a sudden this week. I think Texas is a little disrespected here. They have a ton of talent. All they got to do is kind of just put that together. And this is why you have Tom Herman. This is why you pay him the big bucks. This is why you pay Todd Orlando millions of dollars to coach your defense. They played well last week on the defensive end. I think this is too many points. I think this is an overreaction to thinking that Buechele's not going to play when in turn, even if Buechele plays, Texas is going to have a chance in this game. Give me all the points here. I'll back Texas. I'm not ready to give up on this team. I think there's too much talent there, and I think there's a coach here in Herman he was hired to play and coach these kind of games. Give me the doggy here.
Jeff, high line, 67 for the total. What are your thoughts on that one there?
Yeah, I don't know if we'll see much defense in this game. I think this is like a 45-37 type of game. USC will score. This will be probably similar to like Texas A&M, UCLA. I think it'll be a lot closer, but it wouldn't surprise me to see this one get high. I don't think it's really too high. I don't think either defense is going to give much problem here. Texas has great athletes, but saying you have great athletes and playing with those great athletes good is a different story. I think it's a higher scoring game, but for me, the better play is on the side.
Jeff, one more game here, late night game, 10:30 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday night. Mississippi, California, rotation 207-208, 689 tickets tracked. Obviously, it's a long way to go before that one ends up there. About 54% of those tickets going in on the road team here, the Ole Miss Rebels versus the California Bears. Line opened up, Jeff, at 3.5. Chris is sitting at 4, 5 dimes, 3.5. Not a lot of line movement. Points expected in this game, 72. I think there's an injury for California, Jeff, maybe a running back down for the Golden Bears in this one. But to me, the line looks short. It just looks like Mississippi should be able to handle their business versus Cal. Do you see it the same way I do? Or are you thinking maybe a Cal upset in the works?
Yeah, as far as the running back, Trey Watson, he's out for the year, which is a big blow to Cal. I think they wanted to get the run game a little bit more involved this year, and him going out hurts. Yeah, look, I like Ole Miss a lot in this game. I think they're one of my they're setting up to be one of my more favorite plays this week. I've said it before, and I'm going to say this till I'm blue in the face. Shea Patterson is a star in the making. He's going to be a very high level quarterback in college football. I think next year he might be a Heisman Trophy candidate. This kid, by the way, Ole Miss, Donnie, I don't know if you know this, lead the country in passing offense right now.
Yeah.
919 yards in 2 games for Shea Patterson, 9 touchdowns, just 1 interception per play, per completion, 15.3 yards per play for the Ole Miss Rebels. They're just crushing it through the passing game. And this Cal team gave up 431 yards last week through the air to the Weber State Wildcats. Not something you want. I do think it was a little bit of a letdown game after their big win against North Carolina. But, I think a lot of people would venture and say, well, I'm definitely going to go with the total here. Just keep in mind, Ross Bowers, the new quarterback for Cal, young kid. They've allotted a lot more to the run this year. They're running a little bit more than normal. But I agree. I think Ole Miss, the big problem with this team coming in was many thought no one would care about this season. They can't play in a bowl game. They can't do anything really worthwhile. But the truth is, Donnie, the day after they found out they couldn't play in a bowl game, they had a workout at 6 a.m. down at Ole Miss. Every player was there. Every player was positive about the season. And this team really has opened up the season at a high level. I think Shea Patterson is a star. I'm going to keep saying it. I want to go out and buy his jersey because I love this kid. Give me Ole Miss minus the 4. I think they get the job done here against Cal and really just kind of keep winning games. I think there's going to be a lot of value on Ole Miss this year.
All right, 5-pack there by the big man on campus, Jeff Nader. You can also see us tomorrow again, 12:30 p.m. Eastern time on the Round Table. Always a lot of fun there. We're going to take an overview of college football season, an overview of the NFL season. Take that long approach, not so much capping day to day or what's going to take place that week, but some buy on teams, some sell teams. Even though it's early in the year, it's still a lot of fun to do. If you're just tuning in now, this is the closing line for September the 12th. I'm Donnie Rightside. He's my co-host today, the big man on campus, Jeff Nader. Jeff, some breaking information here, so to speak. Going to get some line updates here. Quintana now favored by 320, it looks like, at 5 dimes here. If we're going to go over some picks here to leave them with the show, only have a few minutes left. 3 of them that I did like early. I'm going to go square tonight. I'm going to go with the Houston Astros. I'm going to go with the New York Yankees, and I'm going to take a flyer on the over 8.5 in Baltimore and Toronto this evening. Jeff, any thoughts from you? Maybe you want to leave the people with here?
Yeah, again, I'll throw this out. We win over every game. I'm not really much involved with baseball right now, but for the sake of the show, for in celebration, I'm going to go with 2 plays. I'm going to agree with you on the Yankees. I'll lay it with them, and I'll also go under 8.5. Garrett Cole and Suter, Pirates Brewers to the low end of the total at 8.5.
All right. Just want to thank my guest again, Jeff Nader, for joining me tonight. This has been the closing line presented by SportsbookReview.com. Check us out at SBROdds.com. The latest on social media at SBR Sports Picks. And also give us a like here on YouTube. Give us a follow. Give us a subscription there. Let us know if we're doing a good job or if we're doing a bad job there. From all of us at SportsbookReview.com, good luck on your wagers. We hope we help you beat, again, the closing line tonight. Take care, fellas.
Okay, we all set?